Also, like every time that I had to do it this way, because I'm like noticing again lately, because I've been checking, like, 'cause I always knew this was the case with the computer versus the amp, right? So, but it's even more clear lately. So that really is 7 years. Like my entire life would be so different. It's just my like it's almost like from my perspective, you have to be insane that you wouldn't have believed in me to actually do it in 7 years. Either like that's yeah. It, I begged that guy for 7 years, like almost every day. Like I explained, and I would spend all my time. Even as a kid, except back then, it like gradually went to have to go to become this anger because everything was proven, and then I was proven correct like years and years ago, and then it just kept going and going, and then it's just been like lies and lies told to me. Then again in the messages he goes, no, you can move, and he already said that like 3 years ago, and like years, and then he said it like month by month. It's like the one thing that I needed from the guy was the help with the moving. It's the one thing I couldn't possibly like afford to and I would have been able to fix all this stuff and and paying everything myself had he listened and supported anything even after like I'd survived miraculously. My parents showed no like like they didn't even give a shit. And then and then they kept doing the shit and never listening. Of course, because they were always the root problem. So of course they're gonna never change and do like that's how that works. You have people that are like super narcissistic and then they can't even like possibly accept what you're saying, and you're the one who's right every time, and then they're really stupid and they can't accept that they're stupid. And I'm not even saying it to insult them, but it's just being honest. And like just like you're trying to navigate this as a kid and as an adult when they've already they stole the whole foundation. So it's so hard to explain. It's just impossible to explain. Why am I even? I don't even have my thing that's. It's just crazy then when I think 7 years. Like, what would have happened? I know 100% I would have succeeded in some of the things that I would have tried. 100%. And it's my dad's fault because I fucking yeah, explained to this guy, and all these different things that were financial that would have. Dude, I could have saved. The guy wasted so much money, and then he complained to me, and then he always blamed me. Meanwhile, my ideas would have actually worked. This guy does everything wrong, and then he blames me. And then he ruined my life and made me have to rely on this guy when you already was fucking. It's nuts. Then, and as a kid, he wouldn't even teach you things because he needed to have the control over you. So he wouldn't even teach you things properly. But me, in particular, my siblings they got fine treatment compared to me. Especially my dad's relationships with girls, it's like very odd compared to like, my sister is like treated like a princess or something. It was bizarre. But to not teach you, like, to teach your kid, not teach your kid, like, enough, and then to try to hold, like, because that only worked until I was, like, what age anyway, because I was too smart to, like, I would learn things better than my dad fast. But he couldn't accept it. It's like, dude, if you just could accept what reality is, if it's wrong, it's wrong. You have to actually be able to admit if you're wrong. It's fucking nuts. I have to do this lately because I'm seeing the position they're putting me in and what's gonna happen if it keeps going that way. So I don't have a choice. Like, I have to talk about it, and I have to get the details out. And I know what they're trying to do. I know what their whole play is of trying to make me like just lose my cool of everything and just go insane from like being in so much pain and just overwhelmed and like just lose it. They want me to completely lose. And then they'll just be like, yeah, he's always been crazy. He can't even defend himself now. Like, that's what it would be. Like, I wouldn't be able to defend myself anymore, and like, wouldn't even be able to think properly. I mean, unfortunately, we're not at that point yet. So. It's just crazy. Every time this is what drives me nuts. This is what always drove me nuts, because I had to play this way through the computer, and I'd be playing and I'd be trying to like have a good time, but like knowing the whole time what I could be doing with my playing, while I'm doing it like in pain, that I'm trying to like make the best of my situation after I was trying to survive, like when I wasn't even supposed to be alive. I survived, like miraculously. Man, so many, I can't even explain, like it's way too much to actually explain that part. That goes off into like thousands of tangents. They're all summation of like this gigantic weight. What was the point? What was I saying? Every time that I played through the computer and I had to do that, yeah, just like being limited and not having it sound like it should, like everything, every single feedback that I'd get with my fingers, it wasn't the way it was supposed to be, and it limited me even more. And then, so it's just like the only times I even got myself to play guitar here, it was doing the wrong things and stuff, and I still had to try to like, and still even to this day, I mean, yeah, I still don't know why for me in particular it's that way, where it's so different, where I'm hearing, when I hear the guitar through like an amp and it's mic'd versus just directly in the computer. I have no idea why that is, but it's just been the case the whole time for me. It's just different. And now, like after like 7 years, how are my fingers even going to be able to do the same, have the same? It's like, and then I know, yeah, from like a foreign perspective, like I'm gonna be like, what are you talking about? It's like, you can play fine and stuff. But it's like, yeah, but you don't understand like the range of potential there is. And like, I know what I can do. I've seen what I can do when it's actually, there's a whole mix of things. There's the focus, and there's the degree of focus, there's the degree of practice. If you can actually, I've rarely in my life even been able to like practice because of the pains that I had. I only had 1 year where I was in the band where I had no pain or anything, because that was before they forced me on the pills. It was all fine. Everything was fucking fine. If I had any pains, it was fine. I know they would go away. Everything was fine. Until they fucking forced me on those damn fucking pills, and my life completely changed forever. Those fucking motherfuckers. And then they never had to pay. I had to pay. I still am paying. I'm still paying. And it's like nobody gives a fuck about that story. About them it's like, yeah, they forced me on these pills and they all had side effects. Surprise, surprise. It's not a surprise. They're on the fucking box. Everybody knows. And then, after that, go and force me on dozens and dozens and dozens of pills and combinations of pills at very high doses that aren't even supposed to be done to people when I'm still not even how old? My brain's not even developed. You fucking idiots. It's always going to piss me off. They didn't give me a choice. I know the pain I fucking have to go through. They'll never have to know that kind of fucking pain, ever. I still fucking have to suffer from these different, I don't even mention it. Can't even bring most of them up. I talk about the other stuff. I can't even bring a lot of the stuff up. Is this even on? Wait, now I don't have any sound though. Hello? Oh, for fuck's sake. I don't know. What? Is the whole time, then I'm not even speaking, and then there's no sound anyway? Or is there sound? Oh, it's my headphones went out. Dude, I don't need that shit. That makes even more. I'm like thinking, okay. And the audio goes out again. That's because I'm working with all this stuff is so janky and like old, and I need to replace this audio interface because this stupid thing keeps never connecting. This wire is like completely shot. But then the input is like, I don't want to talk about this. Anyway, what? So. Yeah, it's just crazy. And I feel like I have to do it also for multiple reasons. And the way that I can't fucking believe that they've still not. Like, at this point, I know I've handled myself perfectly for like a really long time, except for just getting overwhelmed with anger and then lashing out back at them at times. But otherwise through the text, I mean, and that was just going to happen because you're like driving me crazy, and it's all wrong. And there's so much injustice, and it's insane. It's like, I've done the math. It's like all the stuff that you did that was good, that's good, I recognize. Then you did all the bad stuff that far outweighed any of the good. And you twisted everything, and you were behind. It turned out you were behind all. Like, there's so many layers of this shit, and they were twisting the whole time. And yeah, it's just this weird whole psychological thing involved with them, and like, it's a bunch of weird stuff. I don't want to be in a position where like I end up like not even able to defend myself, and these two are still like going around like dictating things and then finding little like whatever way they have to control. I don't. It should have been you just pay like even try to pay back or even care to try to pay back anything that you stole. Like what kind of person? Like I just think like I've thought so much like about how is it incompetency? Like you think I've thought about this about tons of people, whether it's incompetency or like evil or just how much selfishness versus, and how much carelessness, because, and how much just people just focus on themselves. But the range of that is what, with the narcissistic type of people, it's a much higher degree of that. The super selfish, I think. Like real, actual narcissist, like where it's like, yeah, it's really crazy for me when I had to like really actually see it demonstrated, where like I knew I was not doing anything wrong or anything for a long time, and I could see like how my parents were being, where I was actually correct, and there's no way, but they're still denying things. And it's just the weirdest thing, because like anyone else would have like at that point acknowledged the thing and like apologized, and at least if you have any kind of like morality and decency in you, and like you're developed as a person, like that's what you would do. I would do. When I feel I've done something wrong, and I do, of course, sometimes as a human, then I take accountability. I never have a problem with that. It makes me better as a person. So it's like, that's good. I welcome it. It's like everything with me is where it's supposed to be, except for the shit with my parents. What left me. All you had to do was all you had to do is move to a place 7 years ago. Like move when it actually. I could have saved 7 years after the whole fucking shit I went through to even survive. That's the whole. You have to understand the whole context before to even get here, and then understand like the degree of madness I fucking lived through, and then. But nobody will ever be able to understand. Like, and then, yeah. But see, I already have thought about every possible detail of everything. And I already know what anyone could be thinking that I thought. So it's like, what do I say? What can I say? And I have full awareness that it just probably seems weird, and all this stuff that I do on these streams is just weird and would be easy to just like kind of make fun of. And yeah, I'm just aware of like I think of everything. Have to like be okay with everything possible, and be prepared and ready all the time. Could just try it with an amp and a mic one time. This doesn't work this way because it's like I don't even have. It's like I'm trying to use this mic, but then I'm doing it with like this doesn't even have any like amplification on it or anything. There's nothing. It's just the guitar. Dope. electric guitar with a mic, so it's not even plugged in. I just can imagine like what I could do if I had been playing like, and I would have been able to apply myself enough through the different pains and stuff. Like, I already know I had I had figured out enough. There was all these different ways I had to go through, all these different obstacles. I think still I need to get a guitar stand to hold the weight of the guitar really, which is like another $300 or $400 to get a proper guitar stand and all that. And then that takes the weight off of that, and then it's a bunch of different things. But like my parents wouldn't help with anything, and they don't want to put me in this situation. No, they don't give a shit. Just act like it doesn't exist. I'm just a crazy person who didn't take these pills. That's why I have them. No, that's not why. You fucking assholes. They're fucking assholes. It's crazy to do that. That's so fucked up. It's like when everything matches with me logically, it can be tested. We can go through and like test my sanity and consensus with most people. It's sanity, like and pragmatic and rational. That's the way I think. Now for my parents, it's bizarre. It's always argumentative and no respect and weird. Saying I have to go to a hospital, not understanding any of the anger that I have, like, not understanding it, like, it's just nuts. I don't even go into, like, the actual... It's like when I actually think back, it's so much worse than it actually is when I go back and think, and that's the crazy part too. It's just always more twisted. It's always more twisted. It's like it's not the opposite way. I wish it was. It's not. Reality is just very twisted. And then I got forced into talking about this. It was like, God damn. Like the whole time I was doing that. The whole time. And then these two are like acting like I'm crazy and all this is for like nothing, I'm wrong. Like the whole time saying, it's just so nuts. It's been just the inverse of everything. It's fucked up. Because you have like two legitimately, like, something's wrong with them. Like, I think most people could probably tell something's not right. And then it's so unfair to then look at me and like see me like reacting to things. You're not understanding the picture then if you would then demonize me. Like, and I've tried to be so patient and explain things for so many years. And I got to these points where like you wouldn't understand unless you actually went through. And then being so nice. For so many years, I was so patient and nice too. And meanwhile, they didn't even care. Like I found out later, they didn't even give a fuck to begin with. I thought if I explained to them enough, they'd finally understand like the different parts. But like they're either too stupid to even get it, or I think they're both too stupid and they don't care at all. Like when it comes down to it, they just don't care. They'd rather just, have it not be any part of their life. So was crazy because I was already thinking that when I was so young. I was like, I don't even know how old I was. And like being paid, I'm like, darn it, it's like if you can just get this part, maybe you'll understand this part. Like maybe you understand it. It's like, they never understood. And I just had to keep explaining. And like, and because I had to rely, because I truly didn't have the option to go make money on my own and do the stuff the way that other people would because of what they did. And then how many times, like I keep going, trying to explain these things. And even just down to like the one thing at a time would like wreck a person. Like the amount of sleep deprivation and to just ignore these things and then make up these other things and say that I'm depressed and project her. My mom would just project her own crap. And then my dad's there with the control thing, always with the control. Like it wouldn't have mattered had I been able to get out and they didn't put me on the pills and wreck me. Like I would have got out of there in time. Like I was 15. If I got another year or two, maybe I'd gotten out of there. Maybe by 17 or something, I just worked and saved money and got out. Because my body would have just kept working the same way. Like at some point, something broke. And that's what happens. Like everything, like you can see signs of things. Everything is like so simple to me. I don't. You just gotta pay attention to the details. Everything is just action, reaction. It's logic. The only thing is the complexity is the amount of parts and details to like really compute and like navigate all of them and remember and make use of everything. Like it's the basics of it all. Like I don't understand how anyone doesn't get those basic parts, the fundamental truths of. But that's because they're broken. I was the one that was healthy. But yeah, in order for me to like keep going, I have to like find ways to like navigate it and process it and get it out just some way, or else it's just gonna be like jumbled up in my head and really fuck me up. Like, so I have to keep being diligent about everything. That's what I've learned over all the years. Meanwhile, like I know at the same time, like you keep burning everything out, you burn out and you break things, and that's what I'm up against here. So I mean, I never wanted to do this or complain or anything. I never wanted to make posts or videos about anything like this. But I felt like I wasn't in any other position, like I had to. And it's such like a weirdly like nuanced thing. I understand. It's like very, because of the details. It's all like in the details that makes it become like this evil thing that was done. And the way that they talk about it, like it's just the craziest thing because all of the context is like all wrong. And then all their lies and stuff, it's such a big mess. I never should have had to waste all my goddamn, what is the goddamn, and then now they got repentant tolerance on top of it. It's not good. I don't need that on top, I don't need fogginess on top of my brain, to deal, while I'm dealing with it. But that's why